I forbade my partner from attending the delivery of our child. Hi everyone! This situation is quite new, and I'm still feeling very emotional about it all. Please excuse me if I seem a bit scattered. I'm intentionally leaving out much of the background to avoid further distress. I'm set to give birth to my second child at any moment, and I'm slightly anxious that all my feelings from today might trigger labor, which is not ideal. My partner, a term I use lightly since I'm uncertain about my feelings towards him, has a narcissistic and abusive mother. She is a truly unpleasant person who tormented me during my first pregnancy and the postpartum period. My partner distanced himself from her then, and for the most part, I found peace. However, she has slowly been trying to re-enter our lives. I never disliked her until she made me feel less than human. My partner is overly protective of her, partly because he refuses to acknowledge the emotional abuse and neglect he faced growing up. She is the source of many of our conflicts, and I recently discovered that he has been intentionally keeping information from me. One significant factor that fueled my resentment towards his mother was when she arrived at the hospital. After I had given birth, she came to my ward and entered my room, fully aware that I did not want any visitors. She argued with me about it for months. It turns out he knew she was coming and didn't say anything. He informed me less than an hour ago, and I feel so hurt and betrayed by him. My family was incredibly upset with me because they thought I prioritized my in-laws over them. They had been informed that I didn't want visitors and were willing to honor my wishes. I can't blame them for feeling overlooked. He chose his mother over my needs and allowed my family to blame me without saying a word for over 2 years, knowing he could have stopped it. I have told him he cannot be present at the birth of our second child and that my firstborn and I will leave as soon as I can gather our belongings. She told me that my wishes didn't matter and that her happiness was more important than mine. She insisted that my desire for space to adjust was unnecessary and accused me of being delusional for thinking I could keep her away. He knew all of this and still gave her what she wanted. He knew and lied to me. I cannot trust him to be in the hospital with me. I do not want to see his face while I undergo my surgery. I have no one else, but I would rather be alone than with him. Does this make me the bad person? I feel terrible for wanting to do this. This situation has devastated me. You're not the bad person. Your partner didn't just make a mistake. He let you down. He was fully aware of how deeply his mother disrespected and traumatized you, yet he still allowed her access. He exposed you to emotional harm during your most vulnerable moments. That's betrayal. This isn't about family dynamics. It's about safety, trust, and basic decency. He lied, concealed the truth, and allowed you to endure that. You're not wrong for refusing to let him be present during the birth. He has already made his choice, and it wasn't you. Banning him from the room and distancing yourself from him sets a necessary boundary. This isn't about revenge, it's about ensuring your safety and that of your children. He is the one who broke your trust by exposing you to his mother. So, no, you are not the bad person. What do you all think? Please share your thoughts in the comments below, and let's check out what the community has to say. A user named TXGirl308 commented, "Not the bad person at all. He has shown you that he will always prioritize his mother no matter what. It's completely understandable that you don't want him there. You cannot be sure he won't do it again. I'm so sorry you uncovered such a traumatic betrayal just before giving birth, but that's exactly what it is. Betrayal." Another commenter, Alice in Reverse, suggested, "Go to the hospital and ask to speak to the head of the delivery ward. Explain what happened last time. If they are evasive, consider delivering at a different hospital." Alternative Sort 7253 said, "If she is that important, let her take it up directly with the hospital administrator. Don't stay silent and don't accept no for an answer. Make it clear that if she gets into that ward or room while you're there and touches that baby, you will sue everyone involved. I'm not typically one for lawsuits, but I'm against people entering the hospital when they've been told not to." Two's the Devil remarked, "I'm going to tell you the same thing I told my mother when she started coming at my wife. She is a decision I made, and you are not. Furthermore, she is undeniably the most important decision I ever made. Don't ever think I'll side with you over her. If they're not making that commitment to you, they need to reevaluate their priorities." Op replied, He has always prioritized me over her and has defended me. He cut her off because he chose to believe me, even though I only had my word. That's why I'm so caught off guard by this. Ops Edit added context about her first pregnancy, stating she experienced antenatal anxiety, which her mother-in-law used against her to provoke anxiety attacks, even calling her mentally unstable to get her son on her side. He was unsure what to believe and cut her off because he didn't think I was lying. She works at the hospital where I gave birth and is a doctor. I informed the staff of the no visitor policy, but she can bypass it with her access card. I'm uncertain if he stayed quiet to avoid a scene in front of colleagues, as he also works there. The argument made me think he didn't know, and she acted because he went low contact. I cannot switch hospitals due to being high risk and under specific doctor's care. My plan is set, and I must stay put. For those suggesting I report her for accessing my records, it has already been reported and is under investigation. I will talk to the hospital tomorrow regarding her accessing my room. The community agrees that OP is not the bad person, and it seems she is planning to take action. Now, let's proceed to the first of 2 updates on this story. Hello again. This is a brief update for those curious. First, I contacted the hospital about my upcoming admission and was directed to a safeguarding line to explain the situation. They confirmed that my file remains locked and took her details to ensure. She is denied access to me. I'm not certain this will guarantee her absence, but if she tries to come, I will not be held accountable for the outcomes of her actions. Secondly, I reached out to the hospital about the previous incident. They are being evasive at best and don't want to take the complaint because I should have contacted them immediately, which I explained was because they refused to take it due to a staff member's involvement. I have ensured to document their refusal in writing. I was shuffled between various departments, and one has agreed to look into the past incident if she violates my request again. Thirdly, I have consulted my lawyers about several matters and sent them all the necessary information. I cannot share the details here, but everything is in motion. Finally, this update may draw backlash from many of you. My mother-in-law has a hospital date. She messaged me saying she found out from someone she works with, who was named in the Tune message. I'm unsure why that person had the information initially, but she also mentioned that she would be working that day. You can likely guess where this is heading. I cannot do anything this weekend, but will contact the hospital and my lawyers on Monday. I'm unsure if I missed anything. My brain is quite fatigued at the moment. Ops Edit clarifies some repeated mentions. I'm British, and while some of your comments apply, others don't. I appreciate your thoughts, but my lawyers are on top of everything, and I've been providing them with the necessary documents. Changing hospitals isn't an option, as previously stated. This is the best facility for me if anything goes wrong. I would be returned there regardless. Additionally, hospitals here operate in trusts, which means she can access both that provide maternity services and others are too far for me to reach. Just to clarify, my partner did not inform her of my date. Though I mentioned it previously, some comments still suggest he did. It was not him. She sent me the name of the person in her messages, who is from her department. I can't recall her exact role, but she holds a senior position. Another edit adds, I forgot to mention that my aunt is trying to rearrange her shifts to be with me. My concern is that I don't want anyone with me during the surgery. The only person I would want there is my partner. But I'm still firmly against that. And he understands. My mother would faint. She couldn't even look at pictures of my firstborn before he was cleaned up post-surgery. I won't be able to walk and will be quite vulnerable. This is when my mother-in-law is most likely to show up. I hope she has the sense to stay away this time, but I'm realistic and know she will try to come regardless. I'm particularly worried about being alone because I anticipate wanting to shower at some point, but I can't do that if my baby isn't supervised. I will have 2 private nurses, but I know they aren't people I can realistically rely on to confront my mother-in-law in my absence. Some have suggested doulas, and I began researching them yesterday. I will continue my inquiries before the weekend concludes. I feel disheartened about having to compromise on my boundaries. My child is more important to me, and I will do what I must for their sake. Hi again. Here's another update from me. I hope I'm not boring you all with these. I've made a decision regarding the hospital and my family. Before I delve into that, I want to emphasize that this was never a decision I took lightly. I would never want to deny my partner the opportunity to be present during the births of our children. It's a once-in-a-lifetime experience. No matter how many children you have. The reason I considered this is that I cannot have someone who has treated me the way my mother-in-law has around me, nor would I be willing to have someone who enabled her to get her way by my side, especially when I need someone I can trust. I still intended to allow him to sign the birth certificate afterwards since he is their father, and they are not pawns. Custody is a different issue, but I recommend everyone to explore it, even if separation isn't in your plans, as it clarifies your position. We already have a pre-existing agreement we are both content with. Now, for the decision, I am allowing him to be present, but my aunt will also be there in case he struggles to manage my mother-in-law. She will advocate for us all and protect my partner if my mother-in-law tries to reach him. He has demonstrated his commitment to our family over the past couple of years. He was even willing to miss the birth because he understood the impact of his actions on me. He has also stated he will seek therapy for his personal growth. He has given me the space to reach this decision independently, and I feel it is the best for our family. I did discuss the previous incident with him yesterday afternoon. My aunt was correct. He isn't entirely to blame. Much of it comes down to timing and circumstances. What I witnessed and what he told me. He saw a message from her that she was on her way to my room and didn't respond because he was assisting me. He didn't see the second message, where she essentially indicated that neither of us would stop her from getting her way until after she had already left. It was a matter of him knowing but not consenting to her visit. However, he did leave to confront her after a nurse arrived to take over. Given this, it would be unreasonable to keep him away. He is and will continue to be my partner. I never blamed him for my mother-in-law's actions. She should be held accountable for her behavior. Yes, he deceived me by remaining silent, and yes, he misled my family by not correcting them and letting me bear the blame. He has stated he will talk to them and accept the consequences of his actions. Now, my mother-in-law decided to reach out to me directly yesterday evening. I had her blocked for all calls and texts, but it seems I overlooked an app. That has been fixed. I have a lot to update my lawyers on. My partner is aware of my actions and fully supports me. If you're disappointed in my choice, that's okay. I'm the one who has to live with it. Also, if this doesn't make much sense, please excuse me. I'm quite exhausted. I can't criticize your decisions. They are yours to make, and as you said, you will accept the consequences that come with them. I hope your partner keeps his promise now. No more secrets and no more lies. With that said, I wish you the best. Take care, and thank you for sharing. Now, let's conclude this video with a lighthearted post. This post is from the subreddit Malicious Compliance and is by user WonderfulRule2515. If you don't want to be here, then leave because I don't need you. The shift lead who said it was Adriana. In her 20s, she tried to get me fired after dismissing me from my shift. I got the job at 16 because I was dating one of the other shift leads. Definitely a rough start. My boyfriend was one of those people who evoked strong feelings. People either loved him or hated him. Mostly hated him, especially if they came from a loving home, as he was admittedly a terrible person. Adriana particularly despised him, and I'm sure she had her reasons. One Saturday morning, I arrived at work to find Adriana ranting about my boyfriend and calling him out. That day, he hadn't informed me he was calling out, and since Adriana was visibly upset about his absence, I texted him to ask, "What's going on? Why did you call out?" Adriana was really upset about being understaffed on a Saturday, and now she was going to take it out on me for the entire shift. My boyfriend was a real piece of work, and I was surprisingly oblivious at that moment. I texted him mainly to vent, but of course, he used it as a reason to argue with Adriana. He sent her a message accusing her of talking badly about him, which I didn't say she was doing, and I could hear her yelling in the kitchen about how, if I had something to say, I should say it to her face. She was also shouting that I was a stupid, dumb expletive, and literally the dumbest girl she had ever met. Why was I even with him? Valid point, really. I guess I was a bit naive back then. Amidst her tirade about how foolish she thought I was, she entered the office where I was quietly eating my pre-shift breakfast of Boston Market macaroni. I was just zoning out into my Mac because what else could I do? Not only did I come from a home where shouting often led to dodging flying objects, but I was genuinely scared she'd have her cousin confront me if I upset her. So, she stood there while I ate, smiling awkwardly as she continued to tear into me about my intelligence. Why? Because my boyfriend called out of work. It was honestly surreal. Things escalated so quickly, and I felt like life was moving in slow motion. Eventually, she said the magic words that snapped me out of my dissociation. If you don't want to be here, then leave because I don't need you. Now, this was a Saturday morning at a Pizza Hut that was already short-staffed. I knew for a fact she was lying about not needing me, but I also realized she said it in front of the office cameras, which sounded like an approval to leave early, especially after being berated for 15 minutes for something I didn't even do. She later tried to get me fired for walking out, but the first thing I did was tell the general manager to check the cameras. Honestly, I should have just let them fire me. Adriana, if you're out there, I thank God every day that I didn't have to endure a phase of life that involved yelling at 16-year-old girls first thing in the morning at my fancy Pizza Hut shift lead job. I heard you also got fired for assaulting a customer, which is understandable. I get that being a shift lead at Pizza Hut is a high-pressure job. No, really, there's nothing insane about screaming your head off inside a fast food restaurant. Almost daily. That's very rational behavior. Well, OP, it seems you wanted two things. One, to have the rest of your Saturday off when Adriana dismissed you. And two, to learn from her as an example of how not to end up in life. Bitter. Take care, OP, and thank you for sharing